What made your parents beg a teenager for help? My dad was absolutely convinced that dating would destroy my future. At 16, I was the only girl in my grade who wasn't allowed to have a boyfriend. While my friends went to dances with dates, I made up excuses. Dad monitored my Instagram like a hawk, making me block any boy who liked my photos. He'd sit next to me scrolling through requests. Delete him. Boys are distractions. I tried reasoning with him. Dad, I'm getting straight A's. But he'd launch into the same speech about teenage boys only wanting one thing, especially athletes. He'd add with disgust. All muscle, no brain. They peak in high school. Mom would nod along, saying they'd introduce me to someone nice when I turned 25. I started eating lunch in the library, unable to bear hearing friends talk about boyfriends. That is, until I met Cole at the library. Star quarterback, bad boy handsome. Exactly what Dad warned me about, except he wasn't flirting or tossing footballs. He was writing in beautiful handwriting. So for 2 weeks, I just watched him. He'd write for a while, then pause to doodle in the margins. Little dragons, knights with goofy expressions, trees with faces. Once he spent 10 minutes shading a tiny castle, his tongue poking out cutely while he concentrated. And when he smiled at the paper, butterflies ran through my stomach just like my friends described. The 3rd week, he suddenly stopped showing up. It hurt every time I stepped through the doors, only to find his spot empty. I plopped down in a chair, head on the desk, trying to remember the doodles I saw on his notebook when someone pulled out a chair next to me. Cole, my heart stopped. You've been watching me, he said quietly. I turned bright red. Yes, but I mean, your drawing's pretty good too. He placed his notebook on the table between us. Can I get your opinion on something? He opened his notebook to reveal a children's story about a dragon afraid of flying. It was messy, but the story was beautiful. I wiped away tears. Your drawing sucks, I said bluntly. But the story? Wow. He leaned back in his chair, shoulder touching mine. If you want, I can help redraw this, I offered. His face lit up. After that, we started meeting secretly, every Tuesday and Thursday, for 3 months, building story after story. But then, I made a terrible mistake. I invited Cole over to finish our book while Dad was out all day golfing with friends. While we read through the manuscript, Cole suddenly got quiet, tracing over one of my drawings. Did you ever think this was weird or crazy? A quarterback dreaming about becoming a children's book author? I smiled. Well, did you think I was weird for practically stalking you at the library for it? He grinned, then got quiet again. I hid there for a reason. If my teammates found out I was like this, you know, writing fairy tales instead of memorizing plays, they'd flip out. I shrugged. If you think that's crazy, I literally had to block all the guys at school because my dad thinks boys are distractions. No wonder I couldn't find you on Insta. He groaned in annoyance, grinning back. So what do you think now? Am I still a distraction? He stared into my eyes, leaning in slowly. You're a jock, but not clueless. You're gentle, smart, passionate. I felt my heart race. He tucked a strand of hair behind my ear. Your dad's wrong about me. I'd never hurt you. I leaned in just as he did, our faces mere inches apart when the front door slammed open. We jumped up, out of seats, looking completely guilty. Dad glared at us, his eyes darting from me to Cole to the varsity jacket, face purple with rage. A football player? In my house? He grabbed our manuscript and looked at it with pure disgust. Picture books? What are you, 5? He threw 3 months of work at Cole, pages scattering everywhere. Get out, now. Cole quietly gathered our scattered pages, careful not to crease my drawings even as his hands shook. He left without a word. Dad shook his head. You're grounded. For life. Dad, I begged. You don't understand. The lights flickered. Thunder rumbled outside, the same storm that had canceled his golf game getting worse. We continued screaming at each other as the lights flickered, until suddenly, full power outage. Dad cursed, running out of my room towards his office, his laptop and cheap surge protector smoking. His entire presentation for tomorrow's promotion meeting gone in an instant. I texted Cole for help. 20 minutes later, he showed up at our door with a laptop. Sir, I can help rebuild your presentation. I'm a writer. Dad laughed bitterly. Right, a football player who writes. Get off my property before I call the police. Cole refused to move. 1 hour. If I can't help, I'll leave forever. The determination in his voice made Dad step aside. Cole sat down and started asking about the presentation. Dad sat beside him, discussing everything with him. Within minutes, they managed to reconstruct the entire thing with a 3-act narrative that made the boring data come alive. They stayed up till 3 working together. I brought them coffee and watched my dad's expression change from skepticism to amazement, as this dumb jock explained story structure better than Dad's colleagues with fancy degrees. The next day, Dad's presentation was a massive success. His boss asked if he'd hired a professional consultant to help him. Dad shook his head, feeling guilty. That weekend, Dad sat down and apologized to us. Does this mean we can date? Dad's smile disappeared. Maybe not yet. How about college first? Cole and I laughed. That was a start.